The Biography of Gertrude Stein. There are many famous figures in literature, and Gertrude Stein is one of them. During her time, she was an influential figure for writing many thought-provoking poems and books, as she was influenced by cubism, modern art, and her sexuality. Her abstract and unconventional writing style of combining art and literature created pieces that made her stand out from the rest of the writers at the time. Gertrude Stein is of German and Jewish descent. She came from a wealthy family as her parents Daniel and Amalia Stein had real estate holdings. She has 4 siblings, Michael, Simon, Leo, and Bertha. She was closest to Leo as they often went on excursions together during their childhood. Other important family members are her aunt Fanny Stein from her maternal side and her uncle David Backrack. Gertrude Stein was born in Allegheny, Pennsylvania on February 3, 1874. During her early life, her father decided to move the family to live in Europe, one of the countries being France. Then her family moved back to the U.S. and settled down in Oakland, California, where Stein grew up in. After the death of her parents during her teenage years, her older brother Michael became the head of the family's business and decided to relocate Gertrude and Bertha Stein to live with their aunt and uncle in Baltimore, Maryland. Here, Stein met Clarabelle and Etta Cohn, who held Saturday evening dinners and who shared the same appreciation of arts as Stein. She took inspiration from their time together to have a similar gathering in the future. Gertrude Stein attended Radcliffe College, then an annex of Harvard University, from 1893 to 1897. She was a student of psychologist William James, and she helped with a study on normal motor automatism. She received her Bachelor of Arts here. Later, William James encouraged Stein to enroll at Johns Hopkins School of Medicine in 1897. However, Stein lost interest in medicine and left. During her stay at Johns Hopkins, she became infatuated with Mary Bookstaver, who was involved with another student, Mabel Haynes. After witnessing the relationship between the two women, it awakened her realization of her sexuality. She later met Alice Toklas on September 8, 1907 in Paris, France, who she would become lifelong partners with. Alice Toklas moved in with Stein and Leo in 1910. Later, she and Stein left for Paris on July 6, 1914 to England for Stein to sign a contract for the publication of 3 Lives, a famous work of hers. They returned on October 17th, much later than they expected because of the war. Later, she and Toklas vacationed in Spain from May 1915 through the spring of 1916, and they returned to France to help deliver supplies to hospitals in their Ford automobile nicknamed Auntie. After the autobiography of Alice B. Toklas by Gertrude Stein became famous, they went on a lecture tour in the United States during the 1930s. Both Alice Toklas and Gertrude Stein were Jewish, however, they escaped persecution because of Stein's status and connections to a powerful figure. In the 1980s, 300 love letters between Toklas and Stein were discovered, which finally revealed her intimate relationship. Leo Stein was the closest sibling to Gertrude Stein. She followed her brother to Massachusetts during their college years because she missed him. Then, in 1903, Stein joined Leo to live in Paris after her time in college in Paris. Leo introduced Stein to art because he was studying paintings. They began collecting modern art, and both of them hosted Saturday evening dinners in their apartment where people examined paintings and talked about their merits. The apartment was dubbed 27 Rue des Fleurs, or the Stein Salon, because of its many influential figures that attended. There were regularly held social gatherings where prominent figures like Pablo Picasso, Ernest Hemingway, F. Scott Fitzgerald, and Henry Matisse observed paintings and conversed about art and literature. These gatherings were important because it introduced its guests to many artists that were unconventional at the time, like Pablo Picasso and Henry Matisse. This helped put their names out there. Through these gatherings, Stein met Picasso and was introduced to cubism. That was when she began to fully invest in cubism and its movement. These are some of the paintings that Gertrude Stein collected. The first one is Woman with a Hat by Henry Matisse, who he painted after his wife. The second one is A Portrait of Gertrude Stein by Pablo Picasso, and the third one is Book of Glass by Juan Gris, another cubist artist that Stein admired. Gertrude Stein created many types of pieces in literature like novels, plays, stories, libretti, and poems. She experimented with streams of consciousness writing, which is a narrative mode to describe the many thoughts and feelings that pass through the mind. Her writing mainly takes inspiration from art, but also the society she lived in, like the role of women in the war occurring at the time. She also predominantly uses present progressive tenses to create a timeless story. Her first critically acclaimed piece was Three Lives because it had a more conventional type of writing that was easier to understand and it was relatable to many people. She became good friends with Mabel Dodge, who helped promote Stein's writing like The Making of America in the US. Another famous piece by Stein was the autobiography of Alice B. Toklas, which quickly elevated her to become a well-known author. However, there were also a lot of backlash for her portrayal of characters in the book. Her other works are Three Lives, The Good Anna, Malenta, The Gentle Lena, The Making of Americans being a history of a family's progress, Tender Buttons, Objects, Food, Rooms, Composition as Explanation, and the autobiography of Alice B. Toklas. The Gentle Lena, here is a quote from a short story by Gertrude Stein. Lena did what she had to do, the way she always had been taught it. She always just kept going now with her working, and she was always careless and dirty and a little dazed and lifeless. Lena never got any better in herself of this way of being that she had ever since she has been married. Stein, 1909. Gertrude Stein's portrayal of Lena was that of a weak and easily manipulated woman. Lena did what she had to do and what she was told and lived like that her whole life. Lena struggled to find herself and the meaning of her life as she continued to live her monotonous married life. Stein easily portrayed a passive life even if there were moments of psychological complexity and self-analysis by Lena through her use of repetition. Gertrude Stein caught the attention of the mass because this piece of literature can be compared to many lives of women at the time, a repetitive and passive life. Most of Gertrude Stein's work did not reach a mass audience, however, she played an important role in introducing the US to European modern painting like cubism. She has become an icon within the gay/queer community, and she's the most prominent figure leading the cubism movement. Gertrude Stein died on July 27, 1946, due to cancer at the age of 72, and Alice B. Toklas was buried alongside her.